Good morning, hello, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Well, dawn is arriving, although that's going to decrease over the next few weeks because every day is going to be shorter until December. And we're in daylight saving time, which means it's pretend time. My clock says 5:34 Central Daylight Time AM. It's really 4:34, but we'll play along. Here is Del Maguey Vida Single Village Mezcal, introduced in 2010. And both of these are 2 times distilled Espadín Joven mezcals. Okay. And the reason the company they started this program was back in around 2010. They were having trouble keeping up with their production demands, so they started this deal where little independent, I wish it would focus a little better, little independent distilleries, mezcalerias out there in the countryside could produce stuff for them. And then they would tout the village, or the state at least, well, it does have the village on the back. Exocopan. All right, that's Del Maguey Vida. This was $32.99. Price has maybe gone up. I saw it last listed at $34.99. Here's Xicaru Silver Mezcal Artisanal. Now, is it really handmade? Well, they got mass production liquors claiming to be handmade like Tito's. But you wonder, how could it be handmade with that volume of production? But anyway, I'm not going to fight with the people. This was introduced in 2013. So make sure I got my labels correct. And that ran about 20. I think I paid $27.99, and but the price might have inched up a little bit, but not too much. You can still find a deal on it, like at Total Wine or More, for instance. Okay, put the Vita over there. This is a wooden cap, but it's a neoprene stopper, rubber, synthetic rubber stopper. Should be equal or even. Yes. Sometimes I have trouble getting it even. Okay. Xicaru. Now we barely get mezcal in my town. I mean, it's kind of pitiful. I went to that independent liquor store the other day, which is, I'll never go back to that junk pile, but I didn't see any mezcal in that store. Saw plenty tequila, but not mezcal. So this town is only like 28,000 people, and mezcal has got to be the least popular liquor in this town. Now, if I go into Kenner, Metairie, New Orleans, obviously, you can go and find almost endless, seems like, amounts of mezcal. We're only 10 hours only, but 10 hours from Mexico. But you can get, if you leave at 5 in the morning, you can get there before dark if you want to go there. I used to go there pretty regularly, but got to where they were saying don't go, and it was dangerous. And then all the old good restaurants and stores will close down anyway because the tourist industry over there collapsed in northern Mexico. So that was a sad situation, but I can't help it because I have no control over it. Okay. Here's Vida Puebla. That's the website. And they showing, I don't know why this is not showing these photos they did the other day. That's strange. They're saying that it's a mezcal mostly designed for people that aren't really used to. Oh, there we go. I don't know what happened. Sometimes these websites don't load up right. people that aren't really used to mezcal that might think it's going to be strong or something, which many of them are not at all. That's what they're calling introductory mezcal. Okay. Xicaru, Fernando's, he's the master distiller, mezcalero. They use a Jaguar for the symbol. A nice bottle there. Then you click here to give detailed tasting notes, which I'm not going to read all that. That's why links below so you could read it. It's from Matatlan, Oaxaca, Mexico. So they're from 2 different states. He uses grandmother's recipe. Time-honored methods. Yeah, you read about these. Most of the websites for these mezcals, they kind of give the same description. Time-honored methods, traditional, small town. It's just the way they do it. All right. This camera's being funny. Sometimes it has trouble focusing. I notice when the lighting isn't that good. But I purposely don't have the lamps on. I'll do that for about 3 more weeks. Let the sunrise come in naturally, but then it won't happen. You see, we'll be too deep into the summer and the days will become shorter and shorter, and it'll be look like midnight at 6 a.m. because it's not really the correct proper time that the government's saying it is. And even President Trump said he wanted to get rid of daylight saving time. But he's not, he's not going to push it or anything, but he doesn't like it because he thinks it's trash, and I hate it too. All right, but anyway, enough of that. It was like a never-ending thing. Yeah, the aroma is neutral. Now, these are very hard to tell one from another. I have gotten it right most of the time in this challenge series, but barely. It's been really tough. And because my experience, this is me speaking, but it's probably similar for most people. You try these Espadín mezcal, they're very similar one to another. You can say, oh, yeah, it's really different. This one is unique. Oh, yeah, but I'm not seeing that, but I'm talking about the ones I have. You have some that maybe a little smoky, but generally not really the case. Now, last night, Claude Diamond, who likes to join our hangouts pretty often, he was talking about, oh, I don't like mezcal, that smokiness, I hate it. And I was saying, well, Claude, I've said this before, a lot of them really aren't smoky. So you really kind of shortchange a mezcal. And he was saying it's like a poor man's tequila or whatever. I was like, well, that can't be right because mezcal, I find, is generally more expensive than tequila, bottle to bottle. That's just what I find. Now, maybe 20 years ago it was opposite because mezcal had no kind of cachet. Nobody was really looking for it. Most of the ones you found had the worm in it. They were like novelty items. And so maybe that years ago that was. But then they got really serious. More and more people got serious about it, started putting out some really quality stuff. They probably always had serious mezcal producers, but it just wasn't too big of a thing. And like I said, in this town, it's definitely still not a thing at all. I don't think I could find a mezcal at all in this town. I think Mathern's was selling the Casamigos mezcal, but I don't think they are anymore. I think they might have one bottle of this very expensive, like $200 mezcal. And they might sell that whole 6-bottle case. I think it's a case of 6 bottles, but they might sell that in 3 years. Maybe during Christmas time, people bought it. Expensive stuff. But anyway, on with the tasting. Yeah. Sweet, savory, the slightest scintilla of smoke, but I can't really, but maybe I've tried so many. Maybe I've tried so many that nothing seems smoky to me anymore. That could be the case, but to me, it's just not smoky. Now, Claude might say, "Oh, see what I mean?" But I don't think that would happen. We're not really pressuring him to try mezcal. If he's happy with tequila, that's perfectly fine. This one is a little bit smokier. So this one he may not like this one. This one might, yeah, this one because it's presenting a little bit of smoke. A little bit, as opposed to almost zero, practically none. So, but body, medium, finished, mostly dry. That agave savoriness from the succulent plant. Otherwise, they're about the same as usual. So which one would I buy? Well, I guess I'd save the money, which will work out perfectly for me because the Xicaru is cheaper by about, well, from my purchases, $6. So I'm saving $6, but yet I'm getting a little smokier product, which is more suitable for my taste. But let's see. I'm going to call it. I think this is the Del Maguey Vida Puebla. Oh, drat. I hate to tell you this. It's the Xicaru. Now, the other times I tried the Del Maguey, it didn't taste smoky. I don't know. It's so confusing. Now I'm probably back to even. I should have kept a score, written it down. Obviously I had paper. I could have done that, but didn't do it. Mistake. Oh well. I started this challenge saying that, giving a forewarning that I thought it was going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to tell these apart, and that's been the case. Now the next go around, maybe next year, probably won't get back to mezcal till next year. I'd be shocked if it was this year, but it could happen, I guess. I don't want to be drinking too much of other things. But I'm going to bring in the Xicaru Reposado, which is aged a little bit. It's not an añejo. That's, aged for years. But let's hope that one differentiates itself from these Jovens. If it doesn't, I'm going to be aggravated. I'm going to say, look, it's kind of yellowish or tannish, but it is not differentiating itself. But we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. I never tried it. Never read a single review. Don't know what the scores are for it. Don't know anything about it as far as that. Only thing I know is this from Xicaru, and I bought it. And it was $32.99 at Pilot, gas station, liquor store, convenience store, restaurant, truck stop in Pearl River, Louisiana, right in the, literally surrounded by a swamp, a huge swamp, a Honey Island swamp, which they have trails, but I wouldn't have I'd be too afraid to go in there. Now there is a United States government, like a national park. They call it a wildlife refuge, but it's like a national park because it has trails just north of that. It's called Bogachita National Wildlife Refuge, and there's different parts of it. It's spread out in units because it's not all continuous. But there, right off the interstate, you can get off there, and there's a pretty beautiful, and I would consider it safe, trail area. And I always see cars parked there, people from all kind of states, different states, looking at it, going walking there, taking photos, real peaceful. Of course, you can hear the traffic. You're not too deep into the swamp. You can hear, the vehicles. But I'm glad they bought that and preserved it. And not too far southwest of there is the Bayou Sauvage National Wildlife Refuge. And it has one huge trail area and another smaller one. And it's really fantastic. Okay, let's see. Mezcal. I'm looking up Total Wine and More. I want to see the prices at this time. These things fluctuate. Vida 30. Oh wait, that can't be the Puebla for no $38. They got the Chichicapa Mezcal from $83.99. Clase Azul. That's the one I was talking about. The Clase Azul. $419. I thought it was $200. $419 for a regular size bottle of mezcal. Oh no, I don't think so. Casamigo, $61 almost. Let's see. Let's see. Vida Puebla, 36.99. Yeah, like I thought. Let's see if I can find the Xicaru. Let's go lowest to highest price. That'll be better. Uh, yeah, 28.99. So it's only gone up $1 since I bought it. And I think it had a. You know what? I think they were running a sale that month, like it was $1 off. I think that's why. Actually, I think that's why I bought it. It was like they'll do that. You know, Total Wine likes to do that. Every time you go, there'll be one of them on sale. Try to entice you to. It's usually a good deal. Yeah, there you go. What do you know? So definitely, I would go with. I couldn't even tell them apart, right? I couldn't even tell them one from another. So why would I pay more? That wouldn't make any sense, would it? Answer: no, it would not make any sense. Why would you want to pay more for a product and you can't even tell it apart from another product? My answer is I wouldn't do it. Urjo says, "Hey, how do you pronounce your last name?" I think the way they pronounce it in France and in French Canada is Terrio, but we say Terrio, but looks like Theriot, but Terrio, but they say Terrio. When I was actually ordering a travel brochure from Canada one time, I told the man my last name, and I said, "Do you need me to spell it?" He says, "No, I know that name. That's so common here." He laughed and he said, "That's a common name in Canada." That's the way he said it. "Oh boy," he said, "up here it's a common name. Let me tell you, boy, let me tell you, you're going to like this brochure. I'm going to send it right along." That's back when you had to kind of call on the phone and order that stuff. Now nobody even orders a brochure. It's all online, but you can still get them. They are more convenient, honestly, just to flip through a brochure. And it's thick, for Canada. And you see people looking at their phones and they're like looking at this small little thing, and that can't be good for your eyesight. Can that be good for your eyesight? Just glaring at that, just staring at that little device, and when you could have a nice magazine-sized brochure, I don't think it's a good idea. But anyway, seemed like it'd be a strain on your eyes. But so the winner by default today is the Xicaru because I couldn't tell them apart, and it's $6 cheaper. I mean, you got to use logic sometimes. You should do it all the time, I suppose. But the Vita's fine. I would recommend it. I would recommend it, and I would recommend obviously the Xicaru. Now, what's coming up the next time? Luminar, and that's a strange mezcal. Luminar, and it's strange because they use tequila agave for it, Blue Weber agave, or Augustifolia tequilana, I think it's called in the Latin scientific name, or Augustifolia tequilano, tequila. In other words, tequila agave. There's no rule against that. You can use tequila agave to make mezcal. That doesn't matter because mezcal can be any agave. It's just you're wondering why would you do that. But you can only use Blue Weber agave to make tequila, that specialized, most popular type of mezcal. It's kind of like bourbon. You have to use 51% corn. But you could also make an American blended whiskey with 51% corn. It could be the same. But if you aged it in a used barrel, then it wouldn't be bourbon. It would be American blended whiskey. Although it might taste almost completely the same, you see. But that would make a difference being a new charred oak barrel versus a used charred oak barrel. You would think it should make a difference on that char level and the flavor, but otherwise it could be identical. aged, aged the same amount of time with the same exact ingredients at the same exact distillery, but you do one in a used barrel, one in a new barrel, and then so one becomes bourbon and the other one is American blended whiskey. So those are little technical details, but they are legal and they're important because they have a legal distinction. It's like mezcal and tequila, they have a legal distinction. Tequila can use additives such as filler. What I mean, like, say you could take 51% Blue Weber agave and then you could blend it with distilled sugarcane vodka. They make that in Mexico, sugarcane vodka. And you could still call it tequila. Mezcal, not allowed. It has to be 100% agave. I don't make the rules. I know what they are. I can read them. It's not hard to read the rules. Okay, well, y'all take care. Sorry for the failure here, but I did my best. But my best just wasn't good enough. But then tomorrow, I'm planning to do the Luminar and then finishing up, and I believe that's the last one Saturday, finishing up with Ojo de Tigre, the tiger's eye. And they only make a Joven at this time. Now that company might be expanding. I don't think they're too old, but they might, they might bring in a Reposado and an Añejo, or maybe they're just satisfied to make a young one. I don't know. It's up to them. It's their product. Make what they want. It's like the Ciroc brandy. Now, Ciroc came out with that brandy in 2018. That's 7 years ago. And all they make is a VS, a 2-year aged, 2 to 4 year, but probably 2. But they've never brought in a VSOP or an XO. Don't know why. VSOP usually age 4 to 6 years, and XO is age 6 to 10. Hopefully 10 would be a better thing. Or brandy, but they never did. Now, E&J, which is an old American brand from California, they got the VS, the VSOP, and now the XO, the extra old. And the extra old, the XO is a lot better than the VS, but the VS is fine. I don't mind it. Actually, I like it, but you can't compete with the XO. No way. No way. All right. Well, y'all take care and see y'all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.